final quarter begins right now.
And welcome back to the final quarter on CBS 8+. John Howard, Karthik Venkatraman, and Jake Garriani. We got a lot to get to. Let's jump right into it. Almost to the minute. We are a week away from Major League Baseball's trade deadline. It is the talk of the town. It is the talk of the San Diego Padres. Will they make a move and become the greatest team of all time, or will they not make a move and lose every single game the rest of the way? Obviously, that's both ends of the spectrum, it feels like recently. But, folks, the trade deadline does feel very important to this team where they sit right now, doesn't it?
It does, and obviously they're going to be buyers. The team is doing well enough, and if the season ended today, they'd be in as the last wild card team. But I think what this team needs is an offense that's more consistent. The starting lineup scores in spurts. Some games they score runs, many other games they don't. And maybe hidden in the shadows of that is a bench that just does not hit very well. Right now on the active roster, the 5 bench players batting a combined .216. This offense needs some more bats in it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's going to be the bottom line. I was actually talking about this with somebody yesterday, and I was like, you don't even have to watch the Padres game sometime. You know it's going to be a low-scoring game, and they're going to lose by 1 run or they're going to win by 1 run. That's the way it's kind of felt like it's been for quite some time, unless they're playing the Nationals, apparently. But, you know, it's one of those things that the bats are the big question. You know, pitching, even though guys like Dylan Cease have been struggling, I mean, like, in 5 innings, giving up 2 earned runs type of deal, like, it's still manageable to win baseball games if that's the problem, but like the hitting is an issue. And, you know, having to bring Trenton Brooks into key situations as your savior of having to bring in runs or get a big hit, like that's not the solution. Obviously, as the trade deadline comes, it's going to be what kind of bats they can get, what kind of extra depth that they might be able to get to really round this thing out because, you know, they got guys. They got guys that can obviously hit. Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, my GOAT, Xander Bogaerts has been playing out of his mind lately. Luis Ariz is a batting champion. They got guys, but they need that extra push. For some reason, the whole season, it's kind of felt like they need that extra push. They need it now at the trade deadline.
And look, I don't think there's a fan or a media member on the planet that doesn't understand what this team needs to do at the deadline. We all get it, right? It's just about how it gets executed by the general manager, A.J. Preller, and what he brings in. There's no secret what this team needs to do. Again, I think, like John, you mentioned, they're definitely going to be buyers. I totally agree with that. But I do think they kind of have to thread the needle between being buyers and maybe a touch of selling if you do need to move a Dylan Cease or, Jake Cronenworth's name has been thrown around. It's going to be interesting to see how much they try and thread that needle between buying and selling. And I'm not saying selling in a sense of we're not going to make the postseason and the season's over. It's just you're working with the cap space you're working with, and you obviously don't have a great farm system right now. You may have to move some of your big league pieces to get controllable pieces in the future. It's going to be a very, very interesting deadline. I know people love to sit here and guess and go, who could they bring in? What's the name out there? Can we do this? Can we do that? There's really no point in guessing. Let's give it 7 days and we will know the answer to all our questions. Now, that's not a very fun take, but it's kind of... They're
going to get Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani.
And this is where they stand right now in those wild card standings. The West first right there, just 4.5 games back of the Dodgers in the West. And here are those wild card standings. The Cubs, Phillies, and Padres would all be in, as John mentioned, right now. But then right behind everybody, Giants, Red, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, and then the Marlins, a team they just saw moments ago, are right in the mix there. So that's what the standings currently look like. And here's their upcoming schedule as far as it goes going into that deadline and then the first series out of it. They got the 4 against the Cardinals. That Saturday game against St. Louis, you can watch right on CBS 8. And then the Mets come to town. That should be a very fun, interesting series. Juan Soto coming back to San Diego. A really good Mets team taking on a Padres team right before the deadline. There should be all kinds of buzz up in the air. And then, folks, 3 p.m. on 7/31, the season makes or breaks. At least that's how people are talking about it. If the Padres don't make a significant move before we move off of baseball, do you think they will not make the postseason? Do they have to make a big-time move or a splash move? Actually, let me reword that. I don't even want to say a big-time or a splash move because that's not fair. What kind of move does this team have to make the postseason? Or if they don't make a move, is that it for them, do you guys think?
I don't think they make the postseason unless they make some kind of a move. I mean, right now, since the All-Star break, they've gone 3-3. And since their hot start of 14-3 to begin the season, they're a below 500 team. And right now, they don't show any signs of improving on that. And Jake, I remember 2 months ago, we all hyped up that June was a solid month and June was very crucial. Well, right now, looking at the schedule, 22 of the next 25 games are against teams with winning records. And if that's going to be the case and they continue to play the way they've been playing, they are not going to be a playoff postseason team.
I think the Padres could get in as the final wild card spot with, if they don't make any major moves and the roster pretty much kind of looks like it does right now. I think they probably just eke in. That's kind of my take on it. Obviously, the real bigger question for me is, they're going to it doesn't matter, because if they don't make enough moves, they're not contending for what they wanted to contend to at the beginning of the year, which is to try and win it all. And so really the bottom line for me is it doesn't really matter if they eke in as the number 6 and they don't really make any major moves. They're not going to get far in the postseason anyway, because they wouldn't have made major moves, and then they're going to play the upper echelon of, the National League. And so they got to get some pieces to get what they want to do, which is compete for the whole thing. And if they don't do that, that's not happening.
And it's really a team that has to bolster the bench. We've talked about that a bunch. They have to get some slug. This team does need to start hitting for some power. You can only get so far in today's baseball without hitting for some power. Those two things, if they can be addressed, maybe a little bit of pitching, that's asking for a lot, but right there, the reason I think they're in a really good spot is, look, this team's still 7-8 games above 500. They've won 55 games this year, and they've played nowhere near their best baseball. If they do go get some of that depth and some of the pieces we've talked about, I think it could be a really, really dangerous team moving forward, considering where they've been all year long, and they're still 4.5 back of the Dodgers. They're still in playoff position. I think the reason that the trade market is so slow to go as we get to this final week of it is every team feels like they're in contention with the expanded playoff, right? I mean, 20 of the 30 teams feel like they still got a shot to make the postseason. So there's less sellers, there's more buyers. It makes things move just a little bit slower, doesn't it?
Those are some great rose-colored glasses you're sporting there, Jake.
Jake comes on here every week and he says, well, if the Padres can just get into their full mode, if they can just pull it together. 100 games in, still haven't seen it, Jake.
I've been saying it all year long. I think this is a playoff team. I stand by that. I think this will be a playoff team. I'm just saying I wonder how good of a playoff team they can be depending on the moves they make. That's where I'm at.
They got to get pieces.
This is a good baseball team. I really genuinely feel that. I just think, yes, add some depth. The depth to me is the biggest thing. It doesn't need to be the sexiest move of all time. Get some depth, get some slug, and let's keep playing some ball. Speaking of playing ball, SDFC continues to do that on the pitch. Their last matchup was for the top of the Western Conference in MLS against Vancouver. It ended in a 1-1 draw, but SDFC continues to impress, as we've talked about all year long. It just feels like they continue to do the right things, even though they've been so depleted, guys. I mean, playing with injuries and people leaving like Milan Olaski over and over, and yet there they are, top of the West.
I definitely think that they have to get healthy. I mean, that is the big thing. Patty McNair being out, Christopher McMay being out, Anibal Godoy hasn't played since he got off of Gold Cup duties with Panama. This is a team that, especially, you look at that on just the defensive end. McNair, McVay, both starters in the back line, and, Godoy is a defensive midfielder. So to get stronger as a whole, they got to get there, and they play through their back line to really move the ball up the field and help their offense, which is maybe why we're seeing some of their struggles on offense and not the goal scoring that we'd seen maybe in the weeks prior. They got away with one in against Vancouver. It looked like Vancouver had a great opportunity to shut the door there and pick up 3 points, that miss a wide open goal. And then Ian Pilcher is the guy that is really able to be the hero for San Diego FC to get them that 1 point to stick atop the MLS Western Conference standings as they move forward. Can they get healthy and get back into that rhythm that got them to where they are right now?
Yeah, and this team just continues to answer the bell. First place on the line against Vancouver. As Karthik said, looks like they're going to lose the game, and then they come back and get the equalizer to pull the draw, which is, as Mike Ibarra said, it felt like a win to him, especially because his roster was so deleted, and playing with such a young back defensive line. I think he was thrilled to get a draw, and now you have Nashville coming into town Friday night. They're a rock-solid team. They have a better record Pardon me?
It's a good squad, yes.
Yeah, good squad coming in, a better record than San Diego has, and playing against some of the tougher competition in the Eastern Conference. So, but San Diego just keeps continuing to perform and impress, which is really a kick in the pants for all of us San Diego fans.
And we caught up with the team recently to talk about really the depletion of this roster, which has been impressive in the worst way, if you will, and impressive in the fact that they're still winning and drawing some of these matches, and to talk about Nashville SC, which is one of the top teams, really the second best team in all of MLS. So here's Luca Della Torre on the depletion of the roster and head coach Mike Ivaris on Nashville SC.
Yeah, it's one of the most thin rosters I think I've ever been a part of at the moment, just because of the injuries and then some guys leaving. You know, I think we had like 4 field players on the bench the other day.
Yeah.
But it's been great because it's a chance for other guys to step in and, you know, show that they can play also, and that we count on everyone in the squad then, which is great because a lot of them have done really, really well for us.
I would say they're better than pretty good. I think they're really well coached. They have really mature players, really balanced team. Across the board in all moments of the game. I think they're really well-trained, disciplined, and then they have talent that can make the difference. So it's going to be another massive challenge, and these are the ones that we love, right? Because we want to be tested by the best, because that's how you grow.
And be tested they will. Look at the supporters shield. So this is the East and the West combined, just the best teams in all of MLS. FC Cincinnati at the top, 48 points, but right there in second, 47 points in the league. Nashville SC coming to San Diego to take on San Diego FC. Those top 4 teams are from the East, a really, really strong conference, obviously. And then there's San Diego FC just atop Vancouver. What a test it will be Friday night at Snapdragon Stadium for SDFC. And before we move on from SDFC, quick shout out MLS All-Star Game yesterday in their first year ever. SDFC getting 3 representatives in Chucky Lozano, Anders Dreyer, and Yepi Tverskov. Any final thoughts from you two on the boys on the pitch there?
Yeah, definitely for me, it's just like, even though they lost that depth on the back line, I really liked what the young guys did and the way that they've been playing over the past couple weeks. Yeah, they make some mistakes, but they hustle hard. They made some great defensive plays, specifically in that Vancouver game. And then, you know, the parting of the ways with, you know, several contracts over the, not several, but a few contracts over the past couple weeks. You know, this team's kind of just going through it right now, and we'll see how they figure it out, and hopefully they get healthy here soon.
And I have been following MLS for years, nowhere near as closely as this year. But I got to believe Mike Ivaris, you got to start considering him for Coach of the Year. I mean, for Pete's sake, he's taking a franchise team, and at this point in the season with a depleted roster, still sitting in first place in the Western Conference. I think a big reason is the next man up mentality, but I think it's also the philosophy being coached by Mr. Mike Ivaris.
Yeah, totally agree. And I tell you what, if he gets a win on Friday night at Snapdragon Stadium, that'll really boost your resume, because this is a tall, tall task when you consider everything we've talked about with the roster and the team coming in here to San Diego. I can't say I feel great about this one, but SDFC has proven me wrong before, so I think they got to feel good getting out of Friday night with a draw against Nashville, but who knows? Maybe they'll surprise all of us and get that victory on Friday night.
Come on, Jake. Where are the rose-colored glasses on the SDFC?
I like it. You be my rose-colored glasses for SDFC, baby. What are you calling, John?
The winners.
The winner. Okay.
He's looking for a 6-0 victory.
A 6-0.
6-0.
Toppling of the Eastern Conference's second-best team. Is that right? All right, let's move on to football of the other kind. The NFL, where the Los Angeles Chargers returned to San Diego. Just one of really other time they did it since they moved back was last year at Camp Pendleton, but they came and had 2 days of training camp at the University of San Diego. They went and saw the USS Lincoln as a team. It really stirred up a lot of emotions, right, for a lot of people as Twitter video and media coverage came out of the Chargers being back here in San Diego. All 3 of us went to that camp. John and I went on Tuesday when it was open to the military. Karthik, you went Wednesday when it was season ticket holders. We talked a lot about it, John, when you and I were there, just kind of the emotions that was stirred up. I felt like there was an interesting balance of folks that were really fired up, don't want to have anything to do with this team, and then another group of folks that have remained fans. I just want to get your guys' thoughts on the emotions it stirred up for not only you two, but also the people you talked with.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting that last year they did a practice on a military base, and this year a little bit more, a little bit further, kind of dipping their toe further into the San Diego waters by having 2 days of camp, granted not open to the public, but at USD where things were much more visible than on a military base. So I think it's very interesting to see what the Chargers are doing here by expanding their time down here and the facility that they were at.
It's definitely interesting. The way that I've kind of been thinking about this, and you guys can call cap on me if you want as I go down this little path right here.
You got to explain to what call cap is to John real quick.
John, to call cap, you're lying. There's some BS, if you will. So let me take you down this path. It's like, all right, the Chargers and San Diego broke up. They were like boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want, okay? And then they moved down this path. They don't talk for some time. You know, you just kind of have these mixed emotions. And now it kind of feels like ex-girlfriend has come back into the picture. It's like, what's up, baby? Can I come back? And, you know, we kind of get along together. And then the San Diego area is like half and half, right? Part of it is like, man, I really love that girl. But then the other half of you is just like, man, I really hated that girl. And so, like, I think there's like some mixed emotions as this team comes back because so many fans still love this team and still have so much pride in their team. And then so many still have that vitriolic feeling for the Chargers. And they're like, we don't want you back. So I don't know how you guys feel about that comparison, but that's how I've kind of been looking at it the past couple of days, my guys.
That was a hell of an analogy, I'll tell you that much right there. Let's hear from the folks that are on the team, including head coach Jim Harbaugh, who was asked about this possibly being an olive branch, if you will, to San Diego.
Can we view this as a bit of an olive branch to get some maybe Charger fans that were jilted to jump on, or what's your feeling about that? And are you surprised the animosity is still at such a level all these years later?
I don't know anything about that. Never once heard olive branch, analogy used. We love our fans. We got them. We love our LA fans. We love our San Diego fans. Santa Barbara, Fresno, and this is that's just really cool that we are going. We just want to go to them, to our fans wherever they might be. Stockton. I want to go to Stockton, but just all those that come to see us. We want to go to them whenever we can.
The fans here have bought in. You can tell they're diehard fans. So it's cool to see. It's cool to come back here, kind of learn about the roots a little bit more and see some of the fans, like older people, like, hey, I've been, a Chargers fan for life. And then having their kids, come into it and be fans. So it's really cool. They've showed tons of support, tons of love. So I think this was an awesome trip, and I'm glad we did it.
And here's what I want to say about this, and it's what I've been kind of talking to everybody and saying to everybody that's asked me about it. I think this is a very tactical approach by the Chargers when you consider the timing of everything that is happening. They released new alternate jerseys that look just like the old San Diego Charger jerseys. They come down here for camp at University of San Diego. Phillip Rivers releases a retirement video saying he's retiring a Charger, of course pulling at the heartstrings of San Diego Charger fans. And oh, by the way, it perfectly coincides with Antonio Gates, one of the greatest Chargers, if not the greatest Charger of all time, going into the Hall of Fame later this week early in August. So I think it's a very tactical approach by the Chargers saying, look, we want to reconnect with San Diego. Now, the important thing is it's not my job or our jobs to tell you how to feel about it. But that is the approach that they're taking, I believe.
It definitely feels that way. John, you can go ahead if you want.
I was going to say, yeah, it definitely looks that way. And I think really sometimes what goes unsaid, so many times you hear, oh, they hate the Chargers, they hate the Chargers, they hate the Chargers. I think in reality, the jilted fan base here in San Diego, it's not the Chargers that they dislike, it's the ownership. And if the Spanos family sold this ball club, I think all those jilted Chargers fans will be back and having more interest in seeing the Chargers do well. I think it's more a grudge they're holding against ownership for moving the team than actually the team itself.
Yeah, I feel the same thing anytime I hear from a Chargers fan. It's more so not so much towards the team as it is towards the Spanos family and the fact that they moved. At the end of the day, they moved, and here's this kind of bridge to try and come back. I did think it was very interesting, and pretty much, you heard from Jim Harbaugh right there, and even some of the players that we heard from as well. It was just like, we love our San Diego fans. We love our fans here. We love our fans there. We love our fans. It didn't seem like they wanted to blow this out of proportion with so many fans being there and, returning to San Diego. It kind of wanted to seem like business as usual, and we love all of our fans, but I think it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that, you know, this is where it all began, and here they are again, and all these things I don't think are coincidental.
And I will say, I get both sides. I get the people that are still completely angry and frustrated. That's fair. It's quite all right to own those emotions. I 100% understand that. I also get the side of the people that stayed loyal and stayed fans. The hard thing about relocation is it just flat out sucks, right? Like, there's nothing good about it. It rips the fabric out of what it's like to be a fan. The beauty of being a fan is it's one of the rare things in life that you can fully invest in that you have no control over, and that you love it, and you can be invested in it, and that you have no control over. So when that's taken away from you, it sucks. And I totally get both sides, because relocation is no fun at all. Now, one of the great San Diego Chargers of all time is Philip Rivers, who did release an incredible video saying he was retiring as a Charger, and most of it was a nod to San Diego. It gave us the opportunity to ask the team about Philip Rivers retiring a Charger.
Justin, did you get a chance to see Philip's Charger retirement video? And if so, what did you think of it, and what do you think he means to this organization?
I have not seen the video, but obviously we know how talented and how special and you know how much he's meant to this organization. You know, I grew up watching him, and the amount of respect that I have for him as a teammate, leader, quarterback, father. You know, he's done everything, and he's the prime example, and he's what you know, every quarterback should want to look forward to being, and doing everything he can to be.
Just appreciate him in every way. The thing that always stands out to me is coaching against Philip when the 49ers played the Chargers, and his enthusiasm for the game. I mean, it's right there with Derwin James, and his ability to talk, you know, like during the play, like, and sometimes he's directing it at players. One time he even directed it over at me, you know. I mean, this guy can really, I guess, talk smack is the way the young people say it, and to do it without swearing is just another level of eliteness. So yeah, tremendous competitor, and yeah, everybody in the organization has deep, you know, love and appreciation for Philip Rivers. So we're excited. We're excited that he's going to retire a Charger.
Yeah, it was never in question, right? Only played 1 year with Indianapolis, but happy for Philip. Again, I don't think the timing is coincidental at all. I think all of that was done on purpose, but congratulations to Philip Rivers. One quick question, Hall of Famer or no, number 17 in the Chargers?
I think he's first ballot.
First ballot, wow.
Yeah, the Iron Man reputation that he had with the consecutive games started, and when it comes to all the stats, he's right there, top 10. How do you have top 10 stats in all the passing, major passing categories and not be in the Hall of Fame? I get it. He didn't get to the Super Bowl or win one, but performance-wise, he's in.
I think performance-wise, I think I'm very 50-50 because I see both. Like, he didn't get, like, the major accomplishments, like winning that Super Bowl, getting to there. But the statistics, I mean, obviously he had seasons when he was passing leader or co-passing touchdown leader of the season. He had some fantastic seasons. I definitely don't agree with you that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Wouldn't be surprised if he got in. Wouldn't be surprised if he didn't.
You guys do a heck of a job listening to yes or no. Great answers. I will answer the appropriate way. Yes, Philip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
First ballot? First ballot or not?
Philip Rivers is a Hall of Famer. Yes or no? Yes. No, I don't think.
That's also not yes or no either, by the way.
I don't think he'll be a first ballot. No, I don't think he'll be a first ballot, but I do think he deserves to be in the halls of Canton, Ohio. I mentioned it a little bit earlier when I talked about all the things the Chargers were doing to try and reconnect with the San Diego fan base. Again, coincidence? I don't think so, but alternate jerseys came out. Everyone in San Diego recognizes the one Derwin James is wearing right there, the Navy one right here. They are sweet. They always have been sweet. Your guys' quick thoughts on the jerseys that the Chargers released in a couple of different combos with the powder blue pants as well.
John, do you want to rant first?
Well, I see the navy blue jerseys, and they're promoting them as a throwback. I see them as old and boring, and you know you've been in the market a long time when I did stories of everybody hating the navy blue and begging the Spanos family to go back to the powder blues, and the Spanos family would never go back to the powder blues. And then eventually they did, and now they're throwing at us that the navy blue is this, highly respected and honored navy blue throwback. No, the navy blue is old and boring. And there's no better looking uniform than the powder blue. And the all yellow this year, that's a pretty good color rush.
I'm surprised you like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Normally I don't like all red, all orange, all one color.
You don't like the all red Bills jerseys? Those are sick.
Yeah, I mean, the all red ones look like long johns.
What's wrong with long johns, John?
But
that's your name in it.
It's a pretty good look. I like them.
I like the yellow ones. I think the more controversial one, obviously, is the navy ones. I like the navy ones. I know I didn't grow up in this area, so I might not feel the same way about it as you both do. But I think for me, when I grew up as a kid and I remember watching the Chargers on CBS or whatever it is, and watching LaDainian Tomlinson
number 21 in that navy,
for
baby.
the end zone, and he's wearing that navy blue jersey in my mind. When I think about the Chargers, it's those navies from my childhood. And so for me, I like it. I think it's cool, but I know people probably don't feel the way. I'm just an outsider, baby. I'm just an outsider.
It's very nostalgic for sure. John makes a wonderful point. People were clamoring to get rid of those and bring back the powder blue, and now they're throwbacks. So that's why they're alternates, though. They don't wear them for every single game.
Yep.
I think the powder blue pants were a good addition as well. Be able to throw those combos around. The all yellow is a lot. I'm curious to see it in game action. Sometimes those look a little better actually, being played in, but that's a lot. That does it for our Chargers segment of the show on CBS 8+. We would love to hear your thoughts. Obviously, again, a hot topic with the Chargers, the jerseys, the timing, all of it. Please jump in to the conversation. I'm going to let John set up our final little segment of CBS 8+ in the final quarter because boogity, baby.
Hold on to your lug nuts. It's time for an overhaul. Yes, NASCAR announced this week that they are coming to San Diego for a race. It's going to be over at North Island, Coronado, and should be a kick in the pants. Here's a brief synopsis of what's going to be coming next summer. NASCAR announced today they will hold a street race here at North Island next year, and the biggest NASCAR name in San Diego history can't wait.
To a San Diegan to hear those words, just smiling. I'm like, no way. Like this really can happen.
If you're wondering if Jimmy will drive in the race,
the desire to race in my hometown is off the charts. So I will aggressively work on being in the event. And if for some reason I'm not able to pull that off, I will absolutely be there.
The event is replacing NASCAR street race held in Chicago the last 2 years, and it's being promoted as a way to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Navy.
Can you think of a more high-profile, greater way to celebrate than to have NASCAR out here? This is going to be unbelievable.
The event will be a full weekend of races with NASCAR trucks and an Infinity race taking place during the weekend before the Cup Series race on Sunday.
I think this is going to be an unbelievable event next year. What is more American than being able to race on a Naval Air Force base?
Now, they have yet to announce what the actual track will be, but it will be confined to the military base. One note about it, there's a long straightaway is going to be right alongside some aircraft carriers. There's going to be some great visuals at this race next summer. Third week of June in 2026.
I got to say, man, I told y'all I was an outsider earlier. That's because I'm from Bristol, Tennessee, where we have a NASCAR racetrack. It's Bristol, baby. I love seeing NASCAR here in San Diego. Come on, get me with my roots. I used to go to the Bristol Motor Speedway all the time. Jeff Gordon was my guy, man. Come on now.
Is Bristol a short track?
Yeah, it's
tiny
a half mile, fastest half mile, baby. World's greatest Coliseum.
There you. All right.
It's on the stadium, baby.
It's on the stadium. It must be.
And it's
true.
a fact.
It seems like it would be very hard to be on the logistical team for this NASCAR race, but I'm very excited for it to come here. It should be very fun and another event that San Diego gets, and I think to John's point, the spectacle should be something else to witness. That's all we got for you this week on the final quarter on CBS 8+. Be sure to join us right here next week. Trade deadline will literally be going in the books as we record this. Next week, we'll have plenty to talk about. Fellas, send them off.
Go Jimmy.
Kind, loving mothers, and it's Bristol, baby.
He went out with the kind, loving mothers. Take care of your mothers, okay? Everyone have a great day.
All right.